and the widow and that entire situation and how we handle money for our personal lives. The fact of the matter is, in this time, the holiday season, people not only deal with other things like family time and joyous times and exercise and a little unhealthy time, we also deal with money. This is when the creditors start calling. This is when all the sales go up. This is when the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the crazy Tuesday, and the ridiculous, I don't know what you call, every day of the week is some huge sale and everything's 20% off. Just like that furniture store as you're coming into Florence, that's been 40% off, closing sale for the last year and 2 months. Have you seen that one? It's the longest close I've ever seen in my life. How do we handle money, though? Let's start with Scripture. Let's move to today, and then let's make some application and bring it to a close. Will you? 2 realities we need to remember. We have to have it. We got to have a proper attitude. In 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 1 through 7, Elisha, a prophet of God, comes to a woman whose husband has just passed away. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it happened. But in the text, here's what is said. Now the wife of one of the sons of the prophets cried to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that your servant feared the Lord, but the creditor has come to take my 2 children to be his slaves." And Elisha said to her, "What shall I do for you?" She is in a situation where obviously money is important. And she goes to someone for help, and she says, "My husband's died. He obviously has great debt," because later on in the text, you're going to see that she sold everything in her house except for this jar. She's got nothing else. I don't know what happened to the husband. I'm not here to attack the man. What I'm going to say is this. Some people are prepared while others are not. If we fail to plan, we plan to fail. Money's the same way. Emergencies happen. I don't know if this was an accident that caused this man to die. The woman had 2 children in the house. They might be young parents. I don't know what the case may be. If in fact it was an emergency or an accident that caused this individual to pass away, are we opening our eyes to the fact that it could happen to us? On Wednesday, several years ago, a father went to work, came home, played with his twin sons, talked to his older daughter, ate dinner with his wife, went to bed. Thursday, woke up not feeling well. By Friday morning, he had passed away. An aneurysm had come in and taken his life. Everything was great on Wednesday. He was at work. Thursday, he took off because he just didn't feel well. And then Friday, he passed away. And so on Saturday, several years ago, Brianna and I drove up to the funeral to see the family, who were in absolute shock because of the suddenty and because of the brevity of life. And it hit. And it hits when we least expect it. You see, these things can happen. It's not for us to question when or why. It's up to us to ask, how am I to prepare? Emergencies happen, and I want us to be prepared for it. One way or another, this father passed away, and there was a great debt that was owed, and now the mother had to figure out what to do. Are you preparing yourself? You see, emergencies happen. We went on a mission trip this past summer, the youth group. You know, everything always works well on mission trips. If you've ever been on one, they're really, never bumps. Never any sidetracks. Everything always goes smoothly. And so we're driving down the road, and all of a sudden, poof. You know what happens, right? Even back here in the parking lot, as we were hooking up the trailer to the bus, we're like, "Hey, should we bring that spare tire?" "Nah, we'll be okay." Everything always works on a mission trip. A few hours down the road, poof, blown tire. Now we're on the side of the road. What do? 3 hours later, 4 hours later, I can't remember how long it was. It felt like an eternity. We finally got that tire. Because accidents happen. And sometimes it's a blown tire. Sometimes it's the roof that leaks. Sometimes your refrigerator goes out. Or a medical emergency happens. I don't know what it is, but it's probably going to happen at some point in our lives. So what are you doing for your family to prepare? Why is this important? Why does this matter? I believe 100% our spending habits reflect our hearts. If you've ever signed on to your online account and looked at how your credit card, your debit card is used, our online account will filter and show percentages of what it's used for. Now, I know that's not comprehensive and exhaustive, but it shows something. If the majority of my money is being spent on clothes, shoes, toys, and stuff that I don't need, well, I need to reassess myself, because my spending habits reflect my heart. But if the majority of my money is spent on utilities, supplies, and food, and giving to different shelters and service projects and various things of like, well, my spending reflects my heart. So I ask you to look at it. That's why I think this is so important. Because we forget that money's a tool. It's not something we own and we take pride and find security in. It's a tool that God allows us to have since we're blessed, to be a blessing. You see, that's it right there. I'm going to talk about a lot of other things tonight. I hope I don't talk for too long, because when we talk about money, it's extra boring. So I want you to know this. We're blessed to be a blessing. God's given us financial security so we can give those who don't have it some. That's what this is all about. My spending will reflect my heart. And especially in the holidays, when we are teaching lessons and we're showcasing people what's important to us, what lessons are we teaching? What lifestyle are we living? Emergencies can happen. I hope you're preparing for it. I hope it boils down to, what am I spending my money on? Secondly, creditors will come. In the text, this woman says, my husband is dead, and you know that your servant feared the Lord, but the creditor has come to take my 2 children to be his slaves. This is going to happen to each and every one of us who have debt. Creditors will come, won't they? After I graduated college, there was a 5-year grace period on most of my loans. I can't remember what it was called, because Brianne handled all of it. There was some type of loan that the interest was deferred for 5 years, or at least if I was taking grad classes. So I signed up for some grad classes. We deferred those payments for a little while, and then she actually went and paid most of them off, because she's absolutely incredible. You probably know some people like that, right? They need to handle money, not people like Austin. That may be you. This lesson's for me. Creditors will come, won't they? No matter how far you put them off, they're going to come, and they're going to take what's theirs, watch this, and extra. Man, the spiritual applications are found right now. They're going to come and take what's theirs and a little bit extra. For Christians, however, we should not need creditors. We shouldn't need bill statements. Why? 2 different texts. Matthew chapter 5, verse 37, and James chapter 5, verse 12. What do they say? Let your yes be yes and your no be no. If you make a commitment to buy and pay for something, do it. Do you know that that reflects Jesus to somebody else? If you choose and need to take out a loan for a house or for a car or for some medical bill, and I would suggest those are the only 3 things that loans are worthy, or maybe college too. House, car, I would suggest a used car, not just some brand new super expensive car unless you can afford it. Medical bills or college loans. If you take out that loan, it is up to you to pay for it. Because the image of Christ depends on it. Let your yes be yes, your no's be no. When creditors come, they shouldn't need to say to a Christian, hey, it's due. Where is it? And in the text, I don't know what happened to the man. I don't know why this woman was in the situation she was in. But the fact of the matter is, she needed help. She needed to get out of the situation. So verse 2, Elisha said, what shall I do for you? Tell me. What have you in the house? And she said, your servant has nothing in the house except a jar of oil. Then he said, go outside, borrow vessels from all your neighbors, empty vessels, and not too few. Get a lot. Then go in, shut the door behind yourself and your sons, and pour into all these vessels. From that 1 jar of oil, pour into all these vessels. When one is full, set it aside. So she went from him and shut the door behind herself and her sons. And she poured, and as she poured, they brought the vessels to her. When the vessels were full, she said to her son, bring me another vessel. And he said to her, there is not another. Then the oil stopped flowing. She came and told the man of God, Elisha, and he said, go, sell the oil, pay your debts, and you and your sons and live on the rest. Do you hear the financial principles? If you take out a loan, you make a promise, you pay it off. Let your yes be yes, your no be no, because creditors will come. They will take what is theirs, if you're ready or not. They will take more than what they owe, and we should expect them to be there. Dave Ramsey says this: pay off debt and live like no one else today, so you can live like no one else tomorrow. I think that's pretty wise advice. I'm not suggesting we follow everything Dave Ramsey says, but the point is, pay off debt, live off the rest. Now, this is a principle that I think is very prominent and very important for us to live on. Upon performing this miracle, Elisha told the widow, and I want you to notice in verse 7, he didn't say, don't pay and keep it all for yourself. He said, pay it off. Keep your promises. Christians, we must be people of our word. For the great big promises of yes, I do. Yes, I do. I will live with you and be only for you for the rest of my life. Only one right there. From the big promises to, yes, son, we can go have ice cream later tonight. Don't be that parent. Don't be that person who can't be trusted with their word. Well, I know so-and-so said it, but you know how they are. Let your yes be yeses and your no's be no's. So if you're taking out those loans, pay them off. Pay off debt and then live off the rest. I will say this about debt. Stop accumulating. Start paying. And once you get to the end, and you will get to the end, only live off the rest. Here's a principle I want us to see. Society lies to us. Society says, you need a nest egg, you need to live off of all of it, and you're going to need all of it for the rest of your life. So get as much as you can for as long as you can. You may have to give a little bit, but you need to take a lot. Well, here's what I think Christians should be, who I think Christians should be. We give to God. Because is it not true that He gave first? Yes. Give to God, save some, live off the rest. And it's not the other way around. Here's what I need to live. Here's what I have to have. And it's not just what I have to have, because in America, let's be honest with ourselves, guys, it's not what I have to have. Here's what I want to have. Here's what I want to have, and here's the amount I need to get what I want. So then I'll save some, and then I'll give some. Sometimes that's the case. Let me say this about the people here at Pleasant Valley. That's not true, though, here, the people at Pleasant Valley. Michael, Michelle, we got discussing the children's home and the donation that was given for all those young people to go to Disney World. It was astounding, the amount of money that was given for those young people to make that memory. To make that memory, which is probably once in a lifetime. It's probably a dream that they never thought would come true. And time again, people here, as we have experienced it, give and give and give, sometimes even give beyond their means. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so appreciative of that, because our giving and our spending reflects our hearts. So what I know about the people here at Pleasant Valley is hearts are full of love. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it so much. And so while I don't think this message applies to us, I think it's something that needs to be said, because somebody might hear this online and they need to hear this message. You may be able to take this and go talk to somebody about it. But we give to God first, because that's who He prioritized, us. He gave to us first. Then we save some, because emergencies might happen down the road, and we live off the rest. If we have the rest mentality, we will showcase a giving image of God to the world. Giving. You know, our giving is not just what we do on Sunday mornings. We can argue and discuss and figure out if giving is even a part of our worship, but it's what we do traditionally. It's needed. It's necessary. It fills needs of intercongregational things, and it also fills needs of people, not just in this place and in this country, but throughout the world, as we give to so many mission points. My goodness, have you ever gone through the list to see who our missionaries are? How many we support in all the different places of the world? I would suggest you do that, because you have a hand in that. You have a part in that. But our giving is not just what we do in a few minutes on Sunday morning. Our giving is who we are 7 days a week. It's up to us not just to make sure I wrote my check, dropped it in the plate. People who are giving have hearts and have lives in which we give 2, 3, 4, 5 days a week. We don't just wait for the tray to pass our laps, but we go looking for people in need and we give to those who are truly in need. Giving takes place not just on Sunday, but any day of the week in which a need presents itself to the Christian. Giving isn't just money. Remember, what is money? A tool. It's so easy to forget that. Sometimes we think of money as oxygen or lifeblood. While it's necessary, it is only a tool in that it provides for the needs of people. It provides for families, it provides for friends, and it provides for everything else. And so as a tool, we share it. We send it. We give it. Because we have giving hearts, and we want to reflect that message to the world. Let's get moving. So during the holidays, here are my thoughts. Teach moments over money. What do we want our young people to realize? The bigger the gift, the better the present. The higher the price tag, the higher the value. Or are we teaching money, or are we teaching moments over money? I would also suggest to you that time is more valuable than dollars. As far as the holidays are concerned, I'll get rid of every single present I can ever have and just be with family. That's the message I think we need to teach. This is not a holiday in which dollar bills are thrown out. While businesses want that to be the case, and most often it is, we teach that moments matter more than money, that time is more valuable than dollars, and creativity will take you farther than credit will. Some of the greatest gifts are the simple ones in which time is given to it. Thought is poured over it. And it's something simple, but it's something very perfect for the person you've given it to. Not just, I've taken out a lot of money and here's this brand new car. This creativity will take you much farther than credit will. Not just in the holiday season, but in life. What lessons are we teaching during the holiday season? I hope it's moments, time, and creativity. Not money, dollar bills, and credit. Because our giving and our money and our spending reflects our hearts. As we come to a close, we think about debt. The truth of the matter is, I'm not going to go through all this. Only death can pay our debt. And you know what? It's happened. As we think about money and we think about spending, let's sit back and recognize the blessing of Jesus. Only death can pay our debt. And the wages of sin is death. And Jesus took it for each and every one of us. Someone has paid our debt. Romans chapter 5, verse 8. Now it's up to us to claim the payment. 1 John 2:6 says, whoever claims to live in him must live as Jesus did. In Matthew chapter 16, verse 24, Jesus said, take up your cross and follow me. What is the claim that we're trying to take right now? We are living sacrificially for Jesus. Why? Because he's paid our debt. Coming out of Freed-Hardeman, if you've been there and you went to school there for any amount of time, you know the dollar bill signs that are attached to your name. If you've taken out a loan for any point and any reason, whether it's a house or a car, you know what it's like to have those loans and have that interest. What if someone all of a sudden comes in and says, wipe clean? Yeah, that $150,000, gone. No more. Here's the check, paid in full. It's yours. How thankful would you be for that person? You probably couldn't even have words to express. Why? Number one, because it's money and we keep money close to our heart. I ask you to think about Jesus. He paid a debt he did not owe. I owe a debt I could not pay. I needed someone to wash my sins away. It's happened. I ask you to take hold of the payment plan with your life. Live for him, love him, and long to see him again. And be in heaven, which is your reward. What a wonderful life. I hope as we discuss money that we start to see that it is only a tool. It is not our lifeblood. it should be used as a way to reflect God to the world. Our spending reflects our hearts. And so in this holiday season, let's emphasize moments over money. Let's emphasize time over dollars. And let's work with creativity rather than creditors. And let's teach those lessons to a world that needs it, so we can be more giving and more free with the tools that God has given to us. Ultimately, it comes down to this. Christ has paid our debt. How grateful are you? And are you showcasing that in your life? I hope this has helped out in your journey in some way. I hope it's motivated you to be more faithful and to be more committed to Christ and living like Him. And if at this point you've looked at your life and you said, I need to be a little bit better, I've taken for granted the debt that's been paid on my behalf. It's okay. I've been there too. Others have as well. We exist here as a church to be transparent with each other, to support one another all the more as we see that day approaching. So we want to help you, we want to encourage you, and we want to live and work with you. So if you need our help in any way, let me know as we stand and sing together.